You know what's awesome about cooking with Thomas is I'm not a good cook, and it's hilarious. But I managed to make stuff work because I do know what certain ingredients do within the body, so might as well kind of put them together. And you know what? Over the years of messing up on various videos on camera, I've kind of learned a little bit, and I've gotten a little bit better. Okay, so what we have today, we have some paleo-friendly, but honestly, they're kind of keto-friendly if you were to just go easy on them, tacos. All right, now normally we would make this with either like halibut or chicken. In today's case, we're making it with chicken because it's a little bit easier and I don't feel like stinking up the house right now, but delicious with either cod, sole, or halibut, and you can kind of use the same thing. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing that we got to do, okay, we've got about a half a pound of chicken here, and I've already thinly sliced it and put it into strips, seasoned it really simply with Himalayan salt and black pepper. Okay, nothing fancy. That's just the basic seasoning there. But what's really interesting about this recipe is how we are going to be able to make a really good quality batter and then how we're going to fry it. So this whole recipe is really awesome. So what I have here is equal parts cassava flour and arrowroot flour. Okay, now normally you don't go so heavy on the arrowroot, but in this case, since we're not using egg, we need arrowroot because it's really, really fine. Now, why I like cassava over tapioca is because cassava is a resistant starch, which means that when you start to digest it, which you don't really digest it, it ends up feeding the microbes within your gut. It's very cool, okay? Because even though the carbohydrate content looks somewhat high on cassava, because it's a resistant starch, it doesn't digest all the way. We lack the ability to break down those carbohydrates, so they feed our gut. So then I have a little bit of salt and pepper also in this. And here's what's cool. If you've ever made a batter without egg, you use sparkling water. Why? Because it allows it to fluff up a little bit better. So I'll add a small amount of sparkling water. Now there's no set amount. This can depend on altitude, it can depend on pressure, there's a lot of different things. The bottom line is, if you add too much water, just add equal parts arrowroot and cassava again. So let's go ahead and let's get this batter mixed up. And I'm just gonna start by adding just a small amount of this sparkling water. Start small here. Mix it up. Arrowroot absorbs a lot of water too, so we're gonna find, yeah, this is good. Add a little bit more sparkling water here. You want it to be about the consistency of pancake batter. Anything more than that or less than that, thinner than that, it's gonna be hard to get anything to stick. Now, again, don't really worry if it's not perfect, okay? We're not trying to like make the most perfect batter here. What you could do is you could also end up just making this more like grilled chicken and not really have to worry anything about it. Like you could just fry it out without having this batter. Now I made this a little bit thin, so all I'm gonna do is gonna add a little bit of cassava and it should be fine. Yeah, there we go, that's perfect. So we're not trying to get a thick batter. And then again, the longer that you let it sit, it's gonna thicken up real quick anyway. There we go, see, it's about the consistency of pancake batter, just about perfect. Okay, I'm gonna let that thicken up for just a second, set it aside for 1 minute, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix the sauce. This is gonna go on the chicken afterwards. It's gonna go on the taco. This is the star of the show, so listen super carefully here. Okay, I have coconut yogurt first. Why? Well, because we can make this recipe dairy-free, which would be nice because it would be totally paleo. But I also like the way that coconut yogurt sets up. It actually gets a little thicker and it usually has a higher probiotic count because they're adding probiotics to it and then letting it ferment. So it's kind of nice, they're adding cultures to it. So what I have here is I have a half a cup. Again, it's however much you want, right? You're gonna go equal parts coconut yogurt, and then in this case I'm using Primal Kitchen garlic aioli mayo. That aioli taste just tastes delicious when you get the bite of the coconut yogurt along with the aioli, that creaminess, kind of that deep bodied taste that you get with that. Primal Kitchen is using avocado oil within their aioli. So normally if you get aioli, it's gonna be soybean oil at like a grocery store. Primal Kitchen is the bomb for this. So check it out. So it's this garlic aioli mayo. You could also, if you wanted to, use a little bit of cilantro lime, but we're going to use that as a drizzle at the end. Now, if you want to get your hands on this stuff, there is a link down below for Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an awesome place to get Primal Kitchen. And if you use that link down below for Thrive Market, it gets delivered to your doorstep and you'll save 25% off of your Thrive Market online grocery store membership when you choose when you choose Primal Kitchen as your free gift. So you'll get a free gift of Primal Kitchen and 25% off. Plus, get access to all the groceries, keto groceries, paleo groceries. You can sort by different names, sort by different kind of food, sort by different kind of diet lifestyle, and it all just gets delivered to your doorstep. Super convenient. They're a big supporter of this channel, and I appreciate the heck out of them. Okay, mix that up a little bit first. This alone is good on its own, but now the very important piece. What I have here is chili in adobo sauce. You can get this anywhere. You can get it at like a regular store, you can get it at Whole Foods. One of the things you need to pay very close attention to is do not get adobo that has soybean oil. Okay, if you look at most adobos in like the regular like Mexican aisle or anything like that, it's gonna have soybean oil. So just be careful. You might wanna get some online. I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup. I want one of the chilies in there. A little bit extra here. Okay, then you're gonna mix that up. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. It's like a chipotle kind of mash up. You wanna mash up that chili. Nice thing is we're getting some cayenne here. The benefit with using that avocado oil is we're also getting that OEA, that oleic acid that converts into oleoethanolamine, which is really, really cool when it comes down to uncoupling protein, but it's also a ligand for PPAR alpha, which means it helps get you fat adapted. So you see I'm kind of mashing that up, the seeds. Ooh, yeah, we're getting those seeds in there. Yeah, and add a little bit more. Just get a little more flavor in there. Okay, so that sauce is just about set. So now we're gonna bread this chicken real quick. Again, that's thickened up nice. Let's go ahead and let's just kind of add some chicken in, make it easy. Now you could use an air fryer after this if you wanted to. Now I'm not afraid to just make a full-on mess here. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna put my chicken into this batter. And since I'm not like doing a normal breading kind of thing where I'm not like dusting it, I can just mix it straight up into this batter. It's gonna be all good. And then in just a minute, I'm gonna head over to my stove and I'm going to sort of deep fry this, but not full on deep fry. I'm gonna kind of like deep fry slash, I don't know, saucepan it, whatever that's called. Okay, let's go and mix that up so I get it nice and evenly coated. You really wanna get this coated as nicely as you can. It's so nice to have a resistant starch with this. You don't wanna be using gluten, you don't wanna be using wheat flour, anything like that. Gluten can trigger the activation of a protein called zonulin, which can actually cause all kinds of gut permeability, but also some interesting studies have shown that we have zonulin in the blood-brain barrier. And when we activate zonulin, it makes the blood-brain barrier more permeable, leading pathogenic compounds to get into the brain, activating the microglia within the brain, which can trigger some potential brain inflammation and stuff like that. We don't really want that. So it's nice to go grain-free whenever we can. Okay, so this looks good. We're gonna head over to the stove and we're gonna fry this sucker up for a little bit, then I'll finish up the tacos. All right, so now we've got our chicken all battered up and ready to go. And then what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use, again, Primal Kitchen avocado oil. Again, you can use that link down below for Thrive Market. I'm gonna use avocado oil because it has an exceptionally high smoke point. And in a lot of ways, we're sort of deep frying this, but I'm not gonna fill an entire like pan with oil. I'm gonna get this to about probably a 1/2 inch in height, and I'm gonna kind of deep fry it that way. So go ahead and add a fair bit of oil. Nice thing with avocado oil is, once again, that oleic acid. Okay, this is one of the perfect ketogenic oils that you could use, but also terrific in paleo, not only because it doesn't denature, it doesn't break down, it doesn't go through lipid peroxidation. So it's going to be a good stable oil, but it's also really, really good when it comes down to those uncoupling proteins, which is allowing your body to create a little bit more body heat just out of calories. So you're incinerating more food as heat rather than actually depositing it as fat, which is a very cool thing. Uncoupling proteins are fascinating. I talk about them on my channel all the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's bring this up to heat. Okay, and we're gonna let that come to a nice high heat, and then we'll be adding our chicken in. Now, the idea here is you only want to get it to like maybe 360 degrees or so. I'm not going to cook up all this right now, but again, the sparkling water gives it a nice consistency. And we're not trying to go heavy, heavy batter here. It's not a big deal. Here we go. Again, if you were using halibut, you'd probably only need to put this in for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, depending on how thin you slice it. It's going to be sticky. The cassava and arrowroot get really sticky. Do one more. Here's a big juicy one. Okay, so now, while that's kind of cooking and doing its thing a little bit, I'm going to heat up this pan just a tiny bit. Let's get this sucker going. Put that on low. We just want to get it nice and warm. And then I have these Siete brand. These are cassava flour tortillas. You can also use jicama tortillas. So if you wanted to go to Trader Joe's or anything like that and just get jicama tortillas. Cassava flours, you can have these raw, but they're going to be a little bit kind of like dry and weird. So you do want to warm them up. You can put some oil in the pan. Honestly, if you just keep it moving, you really don't need to. I'll probably just warm up 2 tortillas here. These are a really awesome brand. Siete makes some great stuff. If you ever want to have like tortilla chips or anything like that, Siete has some grain-free tortilla chips if you're just looking to have a little bit of a break. Again, 24 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber. So you're like, well, that's still pretty high net carb. Well, no, because again, the resistant starch is within the cassava. So you have cassava flour, water, coconut flour, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, sea salt, xanthan gum. That's it, okay? Look at this, is actually coming out nice. I didn't fill it up a ton with oil, so in another, like, I don't know, maybe minute or so, I'm gonna give it a little flip. There we go, this is getting warmed up already. Yes, I was not using tongs to flip that tortilla. You see those calluses? I'm good. All right, let's give this a little flip here. Ooh, this is awesome. Yeah, buddy. Oh my God, you'd actually think I know what I'm doing for a minute. It's really funny, whenever I'm flipping like meats in oil, I get this like focused thing with my other hand. So I'm like working with this hand and I do this with my other hand. Like I get like the claw, like I'm focusing, so then all of a sudden this hand ends up like this. It's really odd. The more you get to know me, I'm really an odd guy, but it's all good. People think I'm really cool. So warm that up a little bit more, but I'm not. Just a big dork. Whoa, buddy. Come on, man. What'd I do to you? Just turn that down. Go another 60 seconds. Okay, it's like tempura. Ooh, nice, man. Actually came out good. All right, so successfully breaded the chicken. This came out really good. And again, it's resistant starch, so we're good. Okay, now there's one more thing we need to do with our sauce. And just to recap, equal parts garlic aioli, along with coconut yogurt that is unsweetened, and then a little bit of adobo, just however much you feel good. And then the juice of 1 lime, I just wanna add now. You don't wanna add the lime too early on because what's gonna happen is it's gonna separate. So you wanna kind of add this a little bit last, right before you put it on the taco. So add the juice of about 1 lime. An alternative here is if you wanted to add some of the cilantro lime seasoning or dressing, you could. So mix that up. So you get it real good. You can whisk it together. You can do whatever you need to do. Okay, now to build the taco. It's not rocket science to build a taco, but I've got my cassava tortillas here. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna layer it with a little bit of jicama first. Now, I love jicama. You don't have to do the jicama, but the jicama is very good in prebiotic fibers, which again, we're looking at the resistant starch from the cassava. We're looking at the fibers, the prebiotic fibers we're getting here from the jicama. Again, this is cubed. If you can get little shreds, it might work a little bit better. Then I would recommend just leaving the chicken in its full form. It's going to actually hold together better rather than cutting it up into chunks. Let me break that one a little bit. Let's leave it like that. Okay, now the trick is drizzling the sauce. Don't go too overboard in the sauce. I'm gonna get this big old chili in there because I want it. Then, gotta add some avocado. I've already cut this up. I'd say for each taco, go for about 1/4 of an avocado. Perfect. A little bit of red cabbage. Fun little trick, if you actually want to go with fermented cabbage, a little bit of kimchi, even though it's kind of an Asian taste, actually adds a nice little flair to this. And I mean, you have it. You have a relatively keto-friendly, definitely paleo-friendly taco. Look at that. Okay, now the moment of truth here. Yeah. Oh my God. Whoop. That is dang good. Wow. That chicken came out so crunchy. You've got to try, even if you don't make the taco, and that is spicy, holy moly. Almost a little too much. I can't believe the crunch of this. I mean, look at how good this came out. Like juicy, breaded. So again, even if you don't make the taco, make this bread. This almost comes out like, or this breaded chicken, almost comes out like a tempura. So you could totally add some coconut aminos over it, some Bragg's aminos, make your own hoisin sauce, make it an Asian cuisine, or you can leave it just as I did. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out Primal Kitchen down below using that link. And wow, I'm definitely finishing this. So good.